Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. Well, today's guests have been on separately, but they've never been on my show together. They're actually featured in a brand new book that Dr. Scott Stoll wrote, and hopefully I'll have him on this week or very soon to talk about this book. It's about hope and reversing diseases. And they are such role models for people who think it's too late for them, because they really didn't make any significant changes till their 70s, but they both lost extraordinary amounts of weight, reversed their chronic lifestyle diseases. They look great, they feel great. And here they are, the dynamic duo of Esther and Al. Hi, guys. How are you?
We're doing great.
Oh, this is fun. Well, Chef AJ, I'm going to have to make a little correction. The stories that are in Dr. Stoll's new book that's coming out is Ben and me.
Oh, so Al's not okay. Well, that's okay.
No.
Yeah.
This is the first time ever we have appeared together. And maybe the last if it doesn't go well.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm so sorry. I haven't seen the book yet. So Ben is your husband. Al is not your husband, just to be clear.
No, we're more like siblings. We fight all the time.
The annoying little sister I never had.
Right. Because see, I think Dr. McDougall's the best, and he thinks Dr. Esselstyn's the best.
Well, yes. If you have heart disease, I have the cure. If you're fat, Esther has the cure.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how we break it down.
Anyway, we talked about this. The topic of this talk or conversation today being, what's love got to do with it, right? Well, love has everything to do with it, because you know what? No matter what the question, love is the answer, and we can focus on exercise, which is very, very important. We can focus on sleep, which they say is important. I've been awake since 12:30. They can say meditation is important, but if we don't choose love, and even my little cup here, I'm so tickled that it says choose love. Love is the answer to everything, because we know music, we say love makes the world go around, and what the world needs now is love, and so love is why Al and I do what we do, because we're the loudmouth between the two couples here, and we have Ben and Dottie here with us today, and they'll be coming on.
Can I be my usual curmudgeon self for a minute? The thing is, you and AJ, you don't want to love food too much.
Oh yes, the right food.
Oh, good thinking. Yes.
Oh, yes. The right food. I love my sweet potatoes. Yes. I love my broccoli. I love my beans and rice and all that.
Sure. I stand corrected.
So I'm in love with my good food, but I'm not addicted to it.
Good thinking.
See, that's the difference.
Yes.
So anyway, we'll be introducing Ben and Dottie. They're sitting over on the side for a little while. But we're just so happy to share, the idea that it's never too late. It's never. I was 72 and
I was 80.
And he was 80. And, you'd think we were over the hill, right? And now you climb hills.
Yes, I do. Yes. I'm having a ball. This 5.5 years that I have been successfully in this lifestyle is the best 5.5 years of the last 25 years of my life. I am having a ball.
So you had fun before that time?
Not as much as now. Not as much as now.
So what are you doing now?
In case, but not everybody has heard your story, because we get new viewers all the time, briefly tell both of your stories so people understand why you're so happy.
Okay, go ahead.
Go.
Oh, well, my story, and we started the same month, so I think the stars were all aligned. It was July of 2013. Ben and I, my other husband, we were on a trip to Ireland, and I was trying to make it to the gate at the airport to fly home, and my knees just hurt me so bad, and I just thought, I can't take another step, and I just wanted to cry. So when I got home, I knew I had to do something about it, because that was in May of 2016. And in September, we had a trip planned to China. And I thought, how am I going to do China? Because it wasn't even a cruise where you could sit all day. It was a walking tour. So to make it quick, I came back home. I went to the doctor, and he said, well, you can continue taking pain medication to get you through the trip. Or he said, I could give you knee injections. But he said, I could also refer you to orthopedics to see if you need to have your hips or your knees replaced. And I thought, well, I don't like any of those choices. And then he dropped the bomb on me and said, but before I could even refer you to orthopedics, he said, you'd have to lose 70 pounds. And I thought, oh my goodness. At that point, I weighed 257. And I thought 200 would be a reasonable goal because I dieted and got down to 220 sometimes, but never that low. So anyway, well, I'm always talking about this divine guidance thing. Well, my friend just happened to do some research on Dr. Neil Bernard reversing diabetes for herself. She didn't want to get it. And then she came across Dr. McDougall's Maximum Weight Loss book. And she knew my personality. And she just gave me the book. Well, I read it and I thought, I've never seen a diet where there's no animal and no dairy and no oil. I thought, this is really strange. And I thought, well, I'm going to give it a test. So I pretended like I was back in college doing an experiment. And I thought, I'm going to have to follow that book to the T, at least as perfectly as I can, because you can't give an examination or an experiment on something if you don't follow the rules. So I dove right in, and the rest is history, right? I mean, all of the diseases that I had, they really weren't a problem to me because I could still travel with them, but the knees, that was another issue. So that's basically how I got started, and I got rid of all my medications. I had all those same things, GERD, diverticulitis, constipation, sleep apnea, backaches, just goes on and on. High blood pressure, pre-diabetic, and so forth. But I didn't think I was sick because I could still walk and I could get around. So anyway, so that was 5.5 years ago. And it's just been a wonderful journey. And I have found the solution, and it is starch. But I found it by going on the Maximum Weight Loss with Dr. McDougall, and also by following Chef AJ, and also paying really close attention to the calorie density chart. And you put those, that's a trifecta. Chef AJ, the calorie density chart, and Dr. McDougall. That's all you need.
Oh my God. Thank you for that wonderful testimonial. When did you guys meet? Because people will think you're married, but you're not. You're married to different people who we're going to meet.
Okay.
She says that I crashed her party.
You did. He wasn't
I know,
invited.
but you didn't have to point it out.
Well, sometimes crashes.
To her 3 million viewers and embarrass me. No, I don't embarrass.
No, it's because you were eager to learn and you were eager to find out what was going on.
I just wanted to crash the party.
You wanted to crash the party. Well, Tammy Kramer. So I had a little party at the Whole Foods market one day, and just trying to get some vegans together. And Tammy and Tom came, and
they had emailed me and
said
and I would be interested. So I went on Tammy's behalf.
Okay. So then Al and Tammy and Tom crashed my party and came there to Whole Foods, and we got acquainted. And then Al and I just clicked because we realized we had started the same month. And
it was more than that. I only talked to her about 30 seconds because you were the queen of the party and everybody wanted your time. And so I was very lucky I introduced myself and asked when you started. It was the same time I started. And we did just hit it off. I mean, later on, I found out that why you stayed to the diet was basically the same reason as I did. My theory was anything worth doing in life is worth doing to wretched excess. And your theory was, tell them.
What?
Your theory on why you stayed on the diet.
Why did I?
You would not make a good puppet.
No.
The reason that you did is you said if you're going to do it, you had to really go.
Oh, yes. I knew I had to adhere to it or it couldn't be a test.
Right. Thank you.
And then I said all the time, if it works, I'm going to give Dr. McDougall all the credit. Okay. And I do.
Yeah. I know you do.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it was the dedication to purpose that I had and she had that really attracted me to her. And I thought, because I've talked to you and I have talked to literally hundreds of people together and apart. And so many people, oh yeah, I want to do it. I want to do it. Well, not so much. Yeah. And they just don't follow through. And we don't know. You asked me last time I was on your show why they do it. And for the life of me, I don't know. I mean,
well, I think people want the results you guys have, but they don't want to do the work that you guys did to
but you can't get there from here without you can't get the results without the work.
Yeah. I think most people want a magic pill, and that's why they keep going back to the doctor.
Yeah.
Give me another pill. Give me another pill. Well, tell your story.
Oh, well, I was, when I was 80 years old, I had already had 5-vessel bypass surgery, 3 stents, and 2 heart attacks. And so I was on the way out. Dr. Esselstyn called people like me cardiac cripples. And I couldn't walk in your front door up your, you don't even have a steep driveway. No. I probably couldn't have walked up your driveway. It's on a slight slant. I was just a cripple. I couldn't do anything. And the last stint that they put in, they said, well, do you want to go to rehab? And okay, I'll do anything. I wasn't ready to die. And so I thought, yes, I will go to rehab. So Dottie took me to rehab, and I walked in the door like an old man, and I could hardly do anything. And the first half of that was to exercise. We want you to get your heart rate up. I said, get it up. I just wanted to keep it going. Don't give me the get it up joke. Sorry. And so that was just depressing. I mean, I was lower than snail poo in a wheel rut. I mean, I was just depressed. So then this lady comes out and she says, I'm a dietitian, and I'm going to tell you about a whole food plant-based diet. Now, she weighed about 300 pounds. And I thought, if that's what the diet's going to form, bury me now. But she said, well, we're just suggesting this. And by the way, I'm not on it. I go, whew. But she did show me a angiogram of one of the people in Dr. Esselstyn's book, that after 32 months, not even 3 years, 32 months, that the occlusion had gone away and extra arteries had grown around. And that gave me hope, because at the time I could see my decline, my health decline, and I figure I had less than a year to live. I mean, I was just really going downhill quickly. So I thought, again, if anything worth doing, it's worth doing to wretched excess. So I just went, but I didn't know anything. I didn't know, I had Dr. Esselstyn's book, and I followed all the sparse recipes in it. And Dottie says, well, just tell me what to cook. And I said, I don't know. I don't have the knowledge. So that's one of the reasons that I will go out of my way to help people. If someone needs any help at all, go to my website and I will respond to you. And the last time I was on your show, I got 15 to 20 people, and I kept corresponding, I answered all their questions. And
that's wonderful.
Because I had no one to help me. I didn't know where to go. I knew about Esselstyn because they had recommended his book. They recommend Dr. Greger's book on how not to die, which I thought was appropriate because that's what I was looking at. And the first page of the book talks about a 65-year-old grandmother who to me was just a young chick.
Yeah.
And they sent her home in a wheelchair. And she, again, had just months to live, and she got herself to the Pritikin Institute in California, and in 3 weeks, I think it was. Yeah, in 3 weeks, she was walking 10 miles. Well, it took me 4 weeks, again, because I didn't go to the Pritikin Institute, which wasn't there. And but at 4 weeks, I was walking a mile. I had stair lifts in my house. I threw those away. And I was born again. I mean, I the last 5.5 years have been a gift.
That's right.
And I feel very strongly obligated to give it back, pay it forward, whatever phrase you'd like to use. Yeah. So, and she has the same attitude. And again, it's another chord that struck within me. So.
Yeah, I think that's the love that we all share. It's like you, Chef AJ, I mean, every day you're here, rain or shine or anything, and when you've been, it's hard to find the words, but when you've found new life, and this born again word just kind of keeps coming
Well, you
back.
want everybody to share in this.
That's right.
I bought 10 copies of the 3 books. And the third one was Dr. Caldwell's, Dr. Campbell's, the China study. And I gave them to all my, not all, but all friends and relatives, and they gathered dust.
Yeah. But, But
so,
that's why we do what we do, is because we love our life and we love ourselves. We love our mates.
we appreciate it.
Yeah. And it's like every day you wake up, it's like, oh, what's today? Yeah,
that's
right.
a gift.
It's
every
really
day
exciting.
I wake up and I thank the Lord that I'm here.
Yeah, that's great.
Can't you guys go around to every like senior living place? And like you're both in the Sacramento area, right?
Uh-huh.
We have a Wednesday lunch. If you're in Sacramento, come to our Wednesday lunch, and it's amazing. we one of the fellas, gross, big fat guy, and his name is Vic. I'll tell him to watch this.
But you just call him fat. Don't tell him to watch it. He'll hurt his feelings.
That's all right. He's not going to be fat when we're done with him. And he came in and he's called me twice, asked me for help. Esther has talked to him. So, it's just, we enjoy it. And then everybody else gathers around and they say, ooh, we can do this. And so there's no organization to it. All you have to do is come. If you don't like it, go away. It doesn't cost you. Buy yourself, you pay for your own meal. But you talk to other people that have the same goals, or and we're not the only ones that have had good success stories in this.
No.
There's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so they come and every once in a while we'll bore them by people telling their stories, and they all know my story, or if they don't, they go look it up. So and Esther passes out copies of her books. I buy Dr. Bernard's book on how to start
diabetes.
No, how to start to be a vegan starter kit. And the reason I do that is I left one. I bought them to give them away, and I left one around the house. Dottie picked it up, and that instead of listening to her husband, she read that and says, "I think I'll try that."
That's right. Yeah, that's why we're friends.
That's right.
Did your spouses come on board fairly quickly? Because what good is living longer and healthy if they're not going to join you?
Well, should we have them join us now?
I mean, if they'd like to.
Sure.
You want to come over?
Come over.
Yeah.
You want to sit in my lap, honey?
Maybe we should let them sit down. Or do you want to stay that long? We promised them they wouldn't have to be on camera longer than they're comfortable. But how can we get them in here?
There we go. Just like this. There you go.
Wow. So this is my Ben, and this is his Dottie.
Yes.
And Al does so well because not only is Dottie gorgeous,
wonderful cook,
but she really, she's like you, Chef AJ. She really does make wonderful food.
I mean, I have some of the most delicious meals. People don't believe me, but when you go on this lifestyle, your palates change, and you can detect subtle flavors. And oh my, you have this pie that you make, a leek pie, and it just drives me crazy. It's so tasty. And she said, "Oh, it's all right."
Yeah. But back to your question, Ben came on. At first he said, "Oh, I could never eat like you," but he was the main cook in the family. So I said, well, that's okay. It's okay. I can make my own food. So that made it easier because I didn't have to do 2 meals. So it took you, 9 months, Ben?
Yeah, like I always say, is a lot of information was coming into the house, and it made sense. So I, after of course, I'm so cheap that I said to her, I said, when the meat's gone out of the freezer, I'll quit buying meat. Okay. And then we always had the kids over for the holidays and Easter and stuff, and I would always buy cream and butter and everything. I said, when this stuff's gone, we won't do it anymore. We'll do something else. And I really wasn't trying. I always say I don't like this called a diet. I like to call it a lifestyle change, because I'm not going on a diet, because I decided I'm going to eat this way. And that's the way I'm going to eat the rest of my life. So it's not like I'm going to go on a diet, lose a bunch of weight, and then gain it back like I always did before. So that's kind of my story. I don't eat exactly like Esther. Esther eats very plain. I use a lot of the ingredients that she has cooked up in their batch cooking, and then I make something that I like out of it that I think tastes good.
Your bean soup is delicious.
And we're going to have it after we're done here
today.
Good. But I have to brag on Ben, because when we got married, we were both morbidly obese, but we were a matched pair. So there really was no pressure to go on a diet, because we balanced each other out. But at his highest, he was 320, and now he's 160. That's half of what he was. He used to wear a size 52 belt. Now it's a 32. So I'm really excited. And he didn't have as many diseases as I had, but he had knee problem and sleep apnea and a few things. But other than that,
but I will say, when I started this diet, this lifestyle change. I was around 230, and then I went to 160, and I never really dieted. I just ate the food.
It just melted off, right?
Yeah. It's the food. Yeah. And then Dottie has a wonderful story. They're the backdrop. They're the people that support us, because we've got the loud mouths and we're always out there yapping. And then Ben and Dottie are in the background. And we, of course, we're all four part of that luncheon group on Wednesdays in Roseville at the Big and Plate. But Dottie, bless her heart, she had a major stroke.
Oh, yeah.
And she has just come back.
And cancer.
So, Dottie, do you want to say anything?
Well, I just think that since I started this diet or lifestyle eating, that I have not been ill at all.
How about your asthma?
Oh, my asthma's gone. I never get a cold. I just never get a cough. I'm just great. I love it.
Yeah.
You guys all look so happy and healthy.
Well,
so are you
it's
only friends with each other? Because you probably have no other friends, because they're all gone.
Well, no, we have Tammy and Tom, and we have Linda Middlesworth.
But I meant friends your age, because I'm guessing in their 80s, they're either gone or they're unhealthy. So you're not going to really hang out with them.
No.
That's true. I have dinner with my carnivore friends. We do that every Tuesday. And it's driving me crazy, because all they talk about is fear of the COVID, and they're terrified of it.
Well, I meet with, there's a group at the gym, the water aerobics group, and I meet with them only to keep on demonstrating how you can eat in a restaurant. But I mean, it's so funny, because they think exercise is the answer. You can't out exercise your fork. So they go every week and they do all these classes and exercises and stuff. And I don't see, there's only been really one person I've seen make improvements overall. And it's because she has diabetes and she has adopted pretty much a vegan diet. But we go there, and restaurants they're, can I say, hellholes? Sure. I mean, they are the worst place in the world to be, because all the temptations there, all the pictures are there, and it's really hard. But like, we went to Spaghetti Factory, and I looked over the menu and I said, well, I'll have a double order of broccoli, and it looks kind of weird, but when you know the answer to your life, and when you know what your health is all about, all that old food, the desire for it's just gone.
It's not hard to do just the broccoli. I've done things like that. It's not hard. You feel satisfied.
Yeah. And you can always sneak a potato in, or eat it in the car before you go in the restaurant, so you're not hungry. And, so we just love our families. We love being friends. And this Wednesday group has really been good for us. Donna Weifert, she's 69, and she used to be over 300 pounds. And she, 2 weeks ago, she did the marathon, and, it took her a while, but she did it, and we're so pleased that she did that. And
we have a lot of those success stories.
And then Peggy and Larry, I'll have to tell this story. You say how we met. We met at the Whole Foods, right? And then how did we get connected with Peggy? Was that the first thing? Anyway.
Because Peggy asked me to be on her radio show. And I said, how about Esther? Because I said, I think your story is really good, and you think mine's good. So, I said, how about Esther?
Oh, so this was the fun part.
Oh, yeah.
So we go up to a little town outside of Sacramento, and Ben comes with me. And we get to the station there. It's like a real official in-person station, the radio station. You know, you feel kind of like you're important to something. And so this Peggy Bean had a radio show called SOS, and she's interviewed all of our famous doctors by phone there. And so she was interviewing us. But anyway, when we got there, her husband was there, and he had a different last name. So we didn't make the connection. Turned out Ben knew him from 50 years ago. They played music together. So now Ben is in this band with this Larry White that's married to Peggy Bean that had us on her show. And so these things just keep on happening. And then after that, we were both at the Veg Fest together, right?
Yeah.
We both spoke there. And so, and now we've both been interviewed by T. Colin Campbell with his Center for Nutritional Studies.
But this is the first time, it's an AJ exclusive, the first time you and I have ever been we've been on the same show, each giving our own story, but this is the first time.
Yeah.
Right, well, you know what? Elizabeth wants the leek pie recipe, so maybe somebody could come on and do a cooking demo of it. Hint, hint.
Oh no, that's a lot of prep.
It's very complicated. Not real complicated. There's just so much to it. Different. You have to make a crust, and then you have to make the filling, and it takes time.
What are you guys making for Christmas?
Tell her to email me. Go to my website, email me, and I will send her the recipe along with about 10 or 15 of Dottie's favorite recipes. How's that for a lead-in?
Dottie, let's get out of here.
People are asking if there's another book in the works.
Well, I think there needs to be. I think because my book is wonderful, as you say, for inspiration. I call it my from donuts to potatoes, my 366 day on a plant-based diet. But I do need to get the nuts and bolts out there. And I have created what I call the beginner's manual. And that seems to be really helpful in helping people learn how to get started, you know. So yeah, I do need to do that. But in the meantime, both Ben and my story will be in Dr. Stoll's book. And I think that's going to be wonderful because, you know, he has all the medical background behind it. And, I just put more value on his book than my own. But anyway, and of course, Dr. McDougall's maximum weight loss was my secret. I don't know if I could have done it if I'd been on the starch solution because it wasn't strict enough for me.
Now, that's the thing. If you're a food addict, that little bit of sugar and flour and salt can really derail you.
Yes. And I think we need to talk more about food addiction because it's not, if I went to the doctor, he would not have said to me, Esther, you're a food addict.
He probably wouldn't have understood it.
No.
If you're not overweight, and you know, I mean, if like I lived my whole life, I didn't think I was overweight 5-10 pounds, but I didn't think I knew I was addicted to chocolate, you know, but it didn't cause me to blow it up. So
yeah, but I really want to focus on the addiction more and more because until you get the food, you know, like I wear this little shirt, it's the food, and it is because we can't, all those other elements will not solve the problem if we can't get the food under control.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important for people who call themselves vegans. I don't have a problem with that because I think I'm all about love and compassion. That includes compassion for our planet, compassion for our animal friends, and compassion for ourselves too. But you know what? I think we have to be really careful because there's a lot of vegan food out there now, which just makes us switch our addiction from the sad American diet to the sad vegan diet.
Yes, good one. Yes.
You know, and so you can still be addicted. You know, if you want the vegan butter and you want the vegan meat and you want the vegan this and that and the other, it's a good crossover and it helps the animals, but it has too much fat and things that are not healthy for us. So I really, if I were to become a preacher, that's what I'd want to say.
If you will become a preacher.
If I were. Because I just think we're switching one addiction for another.
Yes.
I
agree with that 100%.
It's like my brother was an alcoholic, right? And then finally he decided he could have old duels, you know, about beer.
Yeah.
And it has alcohol in it.
Of course.
And
You just have to drink a lot of it, though.
Well, yeah, but
Everybody
it keeps you in that mindset of drinking and going to bars and being with your old friends, you know. And if you want to kick the alcohol habit, you know, that's not the place to do it.
Yeah.
So, but we compromise in terms of going to restaurants anyway, so we can be with people and influence them.
Yeah,
right?
that was the hardest part to learn. And Mary McDougall had a really good video on that, on you know, the things to order and the things to do when you go to.
Yeah.
One of the things that's also important is that you have to learn. The whole 5 years I've been doing this, it's all been a learning process. I've been learning things new, and I learned a lot from you.
Thanks.
A whole lot.
I didn't learn too much from you because I thought I knew it all.
You could have gone all day without saying that.
No, I haven't learned.
You guys are hilarious. You guys need like a talk show. Hey, how long have each of you been married? And do you think that you would have had the tremendous success if your spouses weren't on board?
Well, I would have, because I decided I was going to do this. And once I got saved, you know, from following Dr. McDougall, there's no way I was going to go back. And Ben could have made it harder for me by, you know, but I did ask, you know, here's another thing, Chef AJ, you know, those of us who are obese, you know, we've been on so many diets through the years, and we've asked our husbands or our spouses, you know, whatever, for help. And after a while, it's like crying wolf. We've been on so many programs, so many diets, so many things. And they get tired of trying to rescue us. They get tired of trying to bail us out. And so how do you get to this point where you're going to ask one more time? I say, ask one more time. Ask one more time for help and see what your spouse is willing to do. And so let
them see how successful you are too.
That too. And then like I said to Ben at the beginning, can you help me? And it was really wonderful, a loving thing. I said, can you just not bring any sweets into the house? And he agreed. So I didn't ask him to change, but I just asked him not to bring it into the house. Because it's like you say, Chef AJ, if it's in the house, it will be in your mouth. And so then here's what I don't understand. People have read the books, people have watched the podcasts, they've watched the movies, and then they come into my group and they're still not cured. And I think, what's going on? What's the missing link? You know, and then that's where I bring up love, because you have to love yourself enough to give yourself the very best fuel. And if you don't care about yourself, somebody else isn't going to care. And
on that note, let me talk a little bit about, I did do it, I could have done it, would have done it without my lovely wife, because my life was more important than my marriage. I didn't want to die just because of my wife. So
you could get another wife easier than another life.
Good point. I didn't point that out at the time, but I'd have a hard time getting a new wife.
Oh, you would. She's wonderful. Just wonderful. Yeah. So it does help. And then, you know, people who have children in their home too, they use their children and grandchildren as an excuse. But the problem is, you're the role model. You're the one with the brain. You're the one with the desire. You're the one with the need. And so whatever is going to help you succeed is something that the children don't need anyway. And if you're the one that does the shopping, just say, oh, I know, I forgot to pick up the chips this week. Oh dear, forgive me. Oh, I forgot to pick up the ice cream. You know, you're the one that brings the food into the house. And yes, you do have to give and take in a marriage. You have to give and take, but you have to be convinced yourself that meat and dairy is toxic to our bodies.
Yeah, what I don't understand, because my perspective is different than yours, I was dying. And somebody said, look, here's a plan that you won't die. Now, I wasn't sure I believed them, but I thought, I'll sure as hell give it a try. So when we get people in their 80s and they've got a disease that you look at, and somebody, Esselstyn or Bernard or somebody has cured with food, and you tell them that, you give them the book, you don't tell them, you give them the books and they see the research, and yet they don't do it. I'm sure you do. I have people that say, I would rather die than not to be able to eat steak or fill in the food.
You know what? Somebody in my family, when I first started this, somebody in my family asked me how I was losing weight. And I told her, and she said that very thing. She said, you might as well lie down and die.
Yeah, no, you.
And I said, I'm not lying down, and I'm not dying.
No. Once you look over and see the abyss down there, you don't want to go there.
No.
I mean, and plus, the quality of my life was so bad. I mean, I couldn't do anything. I just could sit in front of the computer all day or the TV. And those are activities that don't charm me that much. I thought, no, I couldn't do anything. Just walking, I couldn't do. I mean, I couldn't live like that. I mean, I guess you might as well die then, but somebody presented an opportunity and I took it. And that's really what it was about for me.
It's almost,
well, you did the same thing with your knees.
Yeah. And like I say, don't underestimate the power of a book.
No.
You know, it's been books that has led us.
But what do you do with people that don't like to read? And there's a lot of them out there now.
Well, then you call them up and say, I'm going to read to you.
Well, I send them videos.
Yes. And that's good because just on Sunday, it was so neat. Ben and I went to a family reunion of a different family. And I was talking to the wife, and she's wonderful because she's really helped me get my book out. And I've only seen her once before. And she thought her husband, who is diabetic, isn't interested. But then when I talked to him by himself, he was interested. And so I said, go home and get on YouTube and look up Dr. Neil Bernard to talk about reversing diabetes. And, you know, and then I talked to another lady on Monday, and she was blaming her husband not being on board. I talked to him, he's on board. And the next morning, she sent me 3 different pictures of an Instant Pot and which one should they get. And next Wednesday, we'll do a demonstration with her on the Instant Pot. So, I mean, the world is hungry to know the truth, but there's so much garbage out there, you don't know what's real. And you're afraid to start a new diet or a new health lifestyle plan because you will be alone for a while. You will be out of your tribe, like Dr. Doug Lyle says. And it's hard. We all want to be cozy and warm in a nice tribe. And when you first start, you know, you're kind of isolated. And like you didn't have a friend or didn't have anybody, and I didn't either. But, you know.
But the thing is, our age is this is our golden years where you're waving your finger.
Could they just talk a little softer because it's hard to hear you guys.
Oh, guys. Hey.
I'm so sorry. It's just, I don't want people to miss what you're saying, you know?
Oh, okay.
I'm so sorry, but.
No.
It's just, it's the.
No. They spend more time talking to each other as we do talking.
Well, maybe.
Well, Ben is the best listener in the world. It's wonderful. So anyway, and Dottie's so special. But yeah, back to that. And so, you know, it's really hard to know how to be Mickey Mouse, you know, the leader of the band when there's nobody following you and nobody supporting you. But it's your life. And like I talked to one of my classmates a couple of months ago, and he said, well, can I get into this gradually? And I said, Bill, this month, October, we're going to both be 78 years old. We don't have time to wait.
Yeah. And the other thing that I learned the hard way is you cannot care more about other people's health than they do.
And they care themselves.
Yeah. I mean,
if they don't care,
what can you do?
You know,
it's a lot of it's a selection procedure. Who should I spend? I don't have that much time left, you know. So who should I spend time trying to help if they're not? I mean, why should I spend any time trying to help somebody if they're not the least bit interested? You know, their eyes glaze over.
Yeah.
On to the next person.
Yeah.
So Esther, Mandy has a question. How do you encourage people to love themselves enough to change?
Oh.
Well, that kind of gets into a little bit of a spiritual realm, doesn't it? Well, what I would say to that is we are all, I don't care what religion or no religion you are, we are all children of God and we are all worthy. And we're all here for a reason. I mean, it's not an accident that maybe it was an accident when I was conceived. I think it was an accident then, but it's not an accident that I'm here now. And I think if we can get in touch we all have gifts to share. We all have value and we all have purpose, and it's just trying to find out what that purpose is. But we're all going to be called to do different things. And so if you can get in touch with, no matter how fat or obese or sick you are, you have that spirit within you that is divine, and it's special.
Maybe they don't have a purpose. But I'll tell you, if you go on this diet and it's successful, you will have a purpose.
That's right. That's right. So, but it's hard to know how you love yourself, because so often we say, well, I'll love myself when I lose 20 pounds, or I'll love myself when this, and when this. Yeah. You have to start loving yourself and appreciating. Maybe all you have is a nice smile. Maybe you have pretty eyes. Maybe you're a good cook. Maybe you're a good listener. I mean, whatever your gift is, get in touch with that and value it, and quit comparing yourself to anybody else. I think with this capitalistic society that we live in, and materialistic society.
Capitalism is good.
Well, we often, I'll disagree with that.
I sometimes. Know, of course you would.
Yes, of course. But anyway, we all have so much to give, and to give it freely. Like Dr. McDougall is my role model, because he stands on the shoulders of all these other people who have led him to where he became, to where now he sheds his light. And so he says, he doesn't say it in his words, but freely have I received, freely do I give. So whatever you have that's within you, share it. And like Wayne Dyer, he says, we're like oranges, and when we get squeezed, what comes out?
Juice.
Orange juice, because that's what's inside of us.
Okay. Is there orange juice in you?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
So, you know what I mean? I mean, so when we get into pressures in life, the things that come out of us is what's inside of us. So nourish yourself, read good books, watch good podcasts, get so full of joy and love that it just spills out wherever you go. And then when you love yourself, then you can love your spouse more, and I don't know.
Ask if there's any more questions.
Yeah. Tell him to contact Dr. Lyle. He'll straighten him out.
Right. Absolutely. Esther, had you tried to lose weight before your final weight loss journey?
Oh, yes. I went to Tops, and we gather together and have our little meeting and go out for lunch afterwards. What does that tell you? I joined Overeaters Anonymous. We would go out for lunch afterwards. You know how the restaurants are. Okay, I went on Weight Watchers, where you had to count the points and spend all that money, and I don't like to spend money. And then the last hurrah was Dr. Atkins, and I nearly died because I was eating all that fat, and I could eat all the skin off of the chicken from Costco, and I could eat all the butter I wanted, and all those pork rinds and all that. And I thought I was doing really well. I had to give up the treats, the sweets, but I could eat all that fat. And that's when I realized that not only was I a sugar addict, I was a fat addict. But anyway, Atkins worked pretty good. I was up to 282, and I got down to 257. And Ben did pretty good. He was 320, and he got down to 220. And so you can lose weight on keto, but you know what? You're tricking your body. You're putting your kidneys into a state of ketosis, which is dangerous. And I got gallbladder disease, and nobody in the whole wide world told me it's the fat. Nobody told me that. So I had, in fact, Ben and I were traveling salesmen at the time, and I needed to have surgery, and we had the schedule all planned. And so I put my work before my body, and I said, well, what's going to happen? He said, well, you might be on the road somewhere and have another attack and have to have emergency surgery. So here I am in Cleveland, Ohio, had another attack. Only this time I had gallbladder attack and pancreatitis at the same time, which was so bad they couldn't do the surgery until they got the pancreatitis under control. So I get my gallbladder taken out.
Now wait, but didn't the doctors come and ask you?
Oh, that's the next time.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So then I had my gallbladder taken out. I go back to eating, keto, Dr. Atkins, all that fat. And I got another pancreatitis. Couldn't have another gallbladder attack because I didn't have one, but I had another pancreatitis attack right after Thanksgiving. Isn't that interesting? After eating all that fat. And so I'm in the hospital, and my numbers were so high, my doctor said to me, have you called your children yet? And I just played it off. I said, oh, I just saw them last week at Thanksgiving, but that's how serious it was. And even then, the doctors didn't know about. So get Dr. McDougall's Second Opinion book. He has something to say about every disease, and he'll set you straight. Just listen to Chef AJ, listen to Dr. McDougall, listen to those that are in our tribe, and realize you may feel lonely for a while leaving the tribes you belonged to before, but until you get your training pants on, you need help.
And surround yourself with other people that are either on or have been on this lifestyle. They will support you, and you become instant friends. It's how you recognize in the other person. So it's so important is to surround yourself with other people.
Yeah, and I think one thing Ben sometimes says is that he saw that I was losing weight and everything, and of course that was pretty convincing. But I kept playing all these podcasts, listening to you, listening to some of the other doctors. And what do you call it, Ben? You said it was propaganda was in our house.
Well, it is.
But people who aren't, maybe they get tired of hearing about it. But when you hear it from somebody else, that helps too. And I think that's what's going to be important about Dr. Stoll's book, because I'm going to be able to buy some of those copies, and it has Ben and my story in it. And people who are too close to me personally that don't want to hear what I have to say, they can read the other 35 or 36 stories from real people, real stories, and maybe someone else will be their messenger.
Yeah, that'd be great. So how any of your friends did this, or that you guys are just each other's friends for this? Did any of your friends make a change?
Let me think. My daughter-in-law did. She's my friend. And she went to Forks Over Knives and took their culinary course in cooking, and she makes really fancy things, so I'm glad for that. My granddaughter has become a vegan. And who else, Ben? It's been pretty limited, really. I think my niece tried for a while. And I think she still tries. She has rheumatoid arthritis. And with that, you have to really adhere to the program 100%, or else the symptoms come back, from what I understand.
My nephew, because he saw the change in me, I couldn't make it to his daughter's wedding. That was one thing. I had to cancel that trip. I couldn't fly. I was terrified to fly. I couldn't go to a hospital immediately if I thought I was having a heart attack. So he went on it. And in my bicycle group, the first or second time I was there, I passed my card out and told everybody, and they all go, yeah. And one of the fellows had a heart attack, and he immediately changed over to the whole food plant-based diet. And I was so proud of him for that. So I've affected some friends that have had heart disease. You get the fatties and I get the heart problems. Yeah. So there are more people that are overweight.
You can get away with saying it because you're in your 80s.
Yes, we excuse him. Plus,
I have no social ability at all.
Oh wow, you could hang out with Dr. Goldhammer then.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to his class in February.
What class?
True North.
True North. I'm going to go on I booked for 30 days. We'll see how that goes.
Are you kidding? Why, Al?
Pardon?
Why?
I have I have blood pressure that's higher than my doctors like, and they want to put me on meds, and I don't want to be on meds. So I'm going to do it.
Wow. Well, congratulations. Let me thank Struthi for the super chat donation. Wow. You should do some videos while you're there.
Yeah. He said unenthusiastically. If I'm on, you'll notice who's doing all the talking here. Esther's doing all the work. I just go along for the glory. I'm not good at that. I guess I should be, but who's the guy that Our World? I watched his video when he went, and they do it better than I would.
Yeah.
I will when I come back and I get results, I'll share them with the world, my group. Yeah. We each do our thing in our way. You have the shotgun approach where you just tell the world, And I sort of have the rifle approach. I just pick on the certain people that I think will benefit from it, and the people that do, you know, yeah. Ruby and Dawn and people like that. Yeah. So,
well, Chef AJ, it's so exciting because I was in the hot tub with this man this last week, and of course, I always have to tell my story, you know, after I get a little bit acquainted, anyway. And he said to me, "Oh," I says, "I don't think people would want to eat that way." And I said, "Well, there's 11,700 people in my group that feel differently."
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So it just keeps growing.
And you cannot tell them how wonderful it tastes,
No.
the food tastes, and how satiated you are and how much energy you have. I mean, it's just at 86, I have all this energy. I don't know what to do with my body. Says, "Come on, sit down. Quit paying. Quit making all these promises."
Yeah, so. It's a great life, and you know, you just want to. So I want. You know, in fact, the other day in my group, I put a picture of was it Sherman Williams paint? You know how they have a picture of the globe with the paint coming all over it, and I said, "That's what I want to do. I want to spread love all over the whole world." You know, I'm going to call it success with potatoes. So I used his same logo. You know. And but the people want to know, but it's addiction. It's addiction, and we don't want to say we're addicts. And
what are you guys doing for the holiday?
Well, Ben and I have already done it. We did it early because with the whole food thing, it's just really kind of hard. So we took our family of 13 to a vegan restaurant, and we forced them to have a vegan meal. Well, they didn't have to eat if they didn't want to, but you know, that's where we had it. And Ben's birthday was last Saturday. And so we had his birthday and Jesus's birthday together, you know, and that's how we did it. And before we tried to do it, you know, so, and last year we took them to a restaurant where they could order either vegan or regular food, you know, so they could choose what they wanted. But so it's really, but we'll spend Christmas visiting, but we don't have to focus on the food. So that's good. How about you?
We're going to our daughter's house, and of course she's going to have ham. And so Dottie is making me, she's making the beans, or the string beans. And then my daughter is going to make a sweet potato for me. And I said, I had her buy some frozen corn on the cob, and I'll melt that and did that. So while they have their meal, the rest of the family are all carnivores. So what can you do?
Yeah, I can't believe it. With all your success, they're just not interested.
I know. Well, because we're related.
Yeah, that's right.
That's all. They don't pay
I
attention.
would have thought you'd be making leek pie for Christmas.
Okay. All right. I'll send it to you.
Yeah. What do you guys wish you knew before that you don't know?
Oh my.
Well, I'd say what I wished I knew is the joy that comes from this lifestyle. And how do you know the joy until you experience it? I don't know how to explain how wonderful it is until you do it, you know.
Yeah, I did not know. Had I known, then I would have put more energy, but I didn't know that my health would improve. I just thought I would just not die, you know, and I'd be my same miserable self. I didn't really understand. I mean, for 4 years or so, my health improved. I got better. I got more energy. I had little tiny things, like I don't get wax in my ears anymore. I mean, those are silly little things. But my health improved for 3 or 4 years. Yeah. And that was amazing at 80.
Yeah, yes. I know. It is miraculous.
So I did not even have a glimpse of that. I just figured, well, I'll get rid of the chest pains. But it was much more than that. I mean, my kidney functions went from 40% back to normal. I think I would have, if heart disease hadn't gotten me, I think I would have died of, I would have had to go on dialysis, and that's an ugly death. So, yeah, I just, the miraculousness of it, I did not understand. No. I did not anticipate.
And it's not out there. I mean, you go and look at these diet books and stuff. Nobody has the answer. You know, and our community seems to be smaller, but it's growing. And that's why I say, let your light shine. Tell everybody, you know, I say, do the shotgun approach or plant your seeds. You know, it's going to sprout out, and you may not see results right away, but somebody else is going to come along and say something else. And cumulative, when this information gets out there, people will not think it's a sideshow, you know.
Well, you guys are an inspiration for all ages. That's all I can say. Esther, have you met Dr. McDougall in person yet?
Yes. Let's see, I was 2 years into the program and of Eating This Way. So it was September of 2018. And I signed up to go to his 3-day program because I wanted to thank him, not because I didn't think I needed the program. I read the book, right, and was doing it. But I wanted to pay back to him because he saved my life. So I got my husband to go and 2 other friends to go. The 4 of us went for the 3-day in Santa Rosa. And I got to hug him, and he signed my book, and or he signed his book, you know, that I had of his. And that was just wonderful. So yes. And then you let me wish him happy birthday on his birthday.
Yeah, wasn't that nice? That was
that was really special. You know, it wasn't like having him to dinner like you have done. But
yeah, that was great. I mean, that was really a lot of fun having him.
Yeah, I went to his 10-day program. I was 11 months into my journey, and I went to his 11-day programs because at the time I was so nervous of where my next meal was coming from, because I had seen after 11 months, I'd seen such a drastic improvement. I was terrified that if I ate just one bite of the wrong food, I would immediately become a cardiac cripple again. So he provided me with 10 days of healthy food that I knew I could eat. So I'll take it. And I loved it. I met him. He signed a book for me. And yeah.
He's so great. Wonderful. Just love him. Well, I don't do fancy recipes like some of you wonderful chefs, but I do want to say there's one thing I make that people in my group love, and it's so easy. And I didn't put it in the notes, but it's a bean and rice combination, because you can take 2 cups of any bean and 1 cup of brown rice and 8 cups of water and 2 tablespoons. I use Costco's taco seasoning, but you can use any seasoning. Put that in your Instant Pot before you go to bed, set the timer for 45 minutes. And when you get up in the morning, it's all done. And it will last probably 5 or 10 meals, depends on if 1 or 2 are you're eating it. And it can be put into tortillas or just, you know, put a little sriracha sauce on top. And it's so easy. And people make that and they love doing the beans and rice together.
Well, the first time you were on your show, you showed us how you batch cook your oatmeal.
Oh, yes. And now you turn us on to groats. And Ben likes the groats better. So we're doing that in the Instant Pot. And that's real easy. But I try to keep it simple so that anybody could do what I do. You know, you can always get it more.
I have a quick one too. Very quick. That if you buy Bird's Eye Ultimate Southwest Blend, and it's nothing in it, nothing except sweet corn, black beans, green peppers, red bell peppers, roasted onions, period, nothing else. You let it, it's frozen, you let it defrost, put it on a bed of lettuce, or some of it, not the whole package, on a bed of lettuce with tomatoes in there, and that's your salad. And you can fill up on that, and it's just, it's easy to make. So that's my quickie also.
Can I take a picture of that?
You certainly can.
Okay.
Well, I think you guys should have your own show, because you guys are so fun.
Oh, thank you. Try. Thank you.
Thank you, though.
I do a video every day in my group. And I interviewed you one time in that little group.
Nobody watched.
No, it's all right. But you never know. All you have to do is change one life.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and so I just love sharing what I learned. And I just think my new focus, I think, is we've got to address this deal about not making addiction be a bad thing, you know, because like I say, I used to point my finger at drug addicts and cigarette addicts and alcoholics and think I was better than them because I didn't have an addiction, when all the time I did have one. And it's okay, because once you recognize, it's like a diagnosis. once you know you have it, you can do something about it. Because people say to me, oh, well, do you have to give up this? Do you have to give up this? Do you have to give up this? Well, if you ask that question, there's a hook. That's that simple.
We have a question from Carolyn. I am 88. Is it too late?
No, absolutely not. It's never too late. Do you want to live? Answer that question. If the answer is yes, it's not too late. Because whatever's left after you start this, you will have a ball. It will be rich and you will enjoy your life.
Yes. And like I said recently in my group, I said, if you went to the doctor and he said to take this medication, would you say, oh, I think I'll wait till after the holidays?
Yeah, that's a
and
good
so
one.
ask that 88-year-old if she had a pain or she had a problem, she went to the doctor and they gave her a medication. Would she say, am I too old to take this medication? Let food be your medicine, right?
It is. That's what Socrates said. Yes.
I mean, this thing goes way, way back. I mean,
it works every time it's tried.
Yes. Yes.
Socrates or Hippocrates?
Okay.
All of the above.
One of the old parts.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you guys are so fun. And I thank you for showing people that the rest of your life can be the best of your life.
Oh,
thank you.
I
Very
like
good.
that.
Yes, thank you too.
That's wonderful.
Well, come on another time with or without your spouses, and happy holidays to you. And thank you both for the incredible work.
Thank you. Thank you, Chef AJ.
Thank you very much.
It is so fun to see you right before the holidays. And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. Our next 3 shows are all cooking demos for delicious, low-fat, whole food, plant-based for the holidays. And tomorrow is Rebecca Martinez, who was my sous chef who lost over 200 pounds eating this way. And she's going to be making Christmas tamales.
Ooh.
Doesn't that sound good? But we got to get that leek pie, Al. That's all I'm thinking about.
Okay, I promise.
I mean, that's just, I don't know why, but that sounds amazing.
Absolutely superb.
It just sounds delicious.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, everyone. Bye.